want to know, one way or another, what actually happened in those 2 to 3 minutes.
Many people who saw the first film were confused by what I referred to as the new evidence, so I thought I'd take a moment to make that a little bit more clear. The 4 new pieces of evidence are: number 1, John Taylor's watch; number 2, photos of Joseph and Hiram's skeletal remains; number 3, the laser pointer through the door panel; and number 4, Hiram's clothing. First was John Taylor's watch. Of course, we've always known about the watch, but it wasn't made available for public examination until 1990. That's when it was first put on display in the Church History Museum. So once this watch was put on display in 1990, immediately the church historians and scholars started examining it and eventually proved that it was never shot. Second was in 1995 when Shannon Tracy first published his book, which included photos of Joseph and Hiram's skeletal remains. These photos had never been released to the public before. The photo of Hiram's skull was the single most damaging piece of evidence against the 2 eyewitness accounts of how Hiram died. Third, in 1996, David Lyon had the idea to place a laser pointer in the bullet hole in the door panel at Carthage. That showed the second shot was fired at a 5-degree downward angle and couldn't possibly have struck Hiram in the face if he was standing 10 feet back from the door. Fourth, in 2019, Gary Smith donated Hiram Smith's clothing to the museum, which he had worn during the martyrdom. And that called into major question the timing of Hiram's wounds. And you can see here the hole in the knee and right over here on the hip, that there's no blood around those wounds. And they didn't put the shirt, they don't have that on display, but on the back of it is the hole supposedly fired from the window, and that also has no blood around it. There's even more evidence that has surfaced since these 4 were made public. But these are the 4 that have caused the biggest disruption to the long-accepted martyrdom narrative so far. So I contacted you about 5 months ago. You respond to me, and I talked to you about this case and if there's a chance for you to review it. And you say yes, which is amazing. And so I send you everything I have, and over the last 5 months, you've been able to go through the evidence and look at all the different reports and eyewitness accounts, and ask me anything or look at anything you want. And my understanding is you've come to a conclusion.
I've come up with my own theory, yes.
Okay. What is it?
Well, I don't think you're gonna like it.
Babe.
Yeah.
What if you were wrong?
What do you mean?
Well, what if the detective proves that it couldn't have been an inside job?
I'd have to admit I was wrong. I guess apologize.
Do you think the church would take us back?
You mean if I admit I was wrong?
Yeah.
I don't know.